Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. Here's today's question. Rakesh, I work in a company in a middle level management role. I'm feeling overworked and overwhelmed. What should I do? All of us who are working in companies, living in cities, I must tell you that this discussion of work has a historical, uh, massive research. Work has been there as a part of our lives for as long as we existed, especially when the knowledge systems evolved. And the future of work is getting very, very interesting. And I've been following this topic much more closely because I have experienced my own way of working to change. And future of work is getting more and more interesting. But I want to tell you one thing, that the future of work doesn't mean we'll work less. I think the future of work is that it's going to get more and more complex, a lot more competitive. So all of us should learn to brace ourselves for this world which is highly VUCA, where getting good jobs is not going to be that easy or straightforward. Many of us will have to struggle with one, too many jobs. In fact, about 100, 200 years ago, a lot of people struggled with two, three jobs in a day just to earn enough to pay basic money to pay basic bills. And that day is again happening now because of massive inflation. Jobs are less, everything is getting expensive, so we'll have to work harder. So all of you out there, especially living in cities, I'm not talking about super duper generation rich people or people who have made a killing in crypto or stock market who are lucky, enjoy it while it lasts. I'm looking at all of us who look at work as a very important meaning of our lives, something to do with our lives, and are also dependent on work to pay bills. And this portion of people is a significant part of the population of the working community. So I'm going to focus this video on them. And I'm one of them. So message number one, that work is going to get more and more complex and stressful because of the macroeconomic situations. It's not going to go away. So please brace yourself. Please prepare yourself. All of us will be more or less overworked. Now, how do we deal with it? I'll come to it later. But we have to work harder to survive in the VUCA 21st century today. So that's my message number one. Message number two is work is meaning, work is worship. In fact, Khalil Gibran's poetry, and I'll read a line from his famous poem on work. Work is love made visible. What a beautiful choice of words. And you should listen to that poem. There are lots of good renditions out there. One of my good friends, Simarjeet Singh, has done a beautiful rendition of Khalil Gibran's poetry on work. So please watch it. Work defines us, and in today's world, if you have work, if you're busy, it's a gift. So please treat work as a part of our identity. It makes who we are. If your tone between that I'm not going to work and I'm going to retire and I'm going to earn enough money so that I never have to work again, I must tell you you're mistaken, because I think we have come on this planet to make something great, create something, and all of us have the capability. So work is that process which brings out our love and our products and our art and our creativity. So I'm a big believer of having a lot of work. In fact, work hard. If you have the capacity, please have multiple opportunities and jobs that you can do. Don't give up on this. It's a gift to be able to work. Now let's come to your question. If you're feeling overworked or overwhelmed, I think we should talk about it. The word work is not very important. The word feeling is very important. And when you are feeling overworked and overwhelmed, you might be exhausted, fatigued, stressed, anxious, burnt out. Variety of things come in. So I'm going to offer you two frameworks to understand what's going wrong. Work, and your work is, imagine yourself to be like a machine. You are putting in lot of effort, you are burning yourself on that effort, and you're supposed to produce some results. So there is effort and there is result. So here is the simple way of understanding it. Effort and results. Now, if the efforts are a lot and the results are less, there is a serious problem. You will feel overwhelmed and fatigued and demotivated. A lot of issues will come. So I think most of us are here, and I have a feeling you're also here, that you're working very hard, your efforts are very high, but the results are very, very low. Now let's focus on the efforts part, that what could be the reason that you are putting in a lot of efforts. So there are some ideas I can give you. That one is that maybe your work requires lot of dependencies on others. So you're doing your work, then there are a lot of people who are working with you and things are beyond your control, and that causes a lot of effort getting wasted because you're doing your work, passing it to the others, and their things kind of don't happen. So you're working harder to communicate with them, collaborate with them. There are inefficiencies in the system. So one big chunk of high effort and not resulting in good outcomes is that maybe there are a lot of dependencies and you should think about it. The second is there could be a lot of inefficiencies that are not in your control. The third is maybe you are not skilled. Maybe you are doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And I can tell you there are a lot of people out there who are in this category. They have taken awesome degrees, but they are still not skilled to do the work of the VUCA 21st century, and that can be overwhelming and it can burn you out because you don't know what to do out there. And a big problem is this whole soft skills. You have learned coding or some balance sheet, but when you come to the company, you have to deal with people and you just don't know what to do. So you're putting in a lot of effort, results are not there, highly inefficient, and you feel the anxiety and stress because of it. So please think about it. And the last could be that the task is extremely complex. You've taken a big chunk of it and you're not able to solve it alone. And this can happen to a lot of you who have taken a big problem to solve, that I'm going to solve world hunger all by myself. Ask yourself that, hey, can you do that alone? Is it too complex? Can you break it down into smaller chunks and then solve the problem? Maybe that could be an issue. So please look at the efforts. If there are dependencies, reduce them. If there are inefficiencies, resolve them. If you're not skilled, skill yourself. And finally, if the task is too complex, break it down into simpler tasks so that you can manage that, so that your effort is slightly lesser and the results are balanced. So you have to take this equation from here, high efforts and low results, to efforts and results in a balanced way. And this is what you need to start working on. If you come here, you'll feel a lot better. The nirvana is that low efforts and high results. Now, this is nirvana, and I wish you all the best. If you reach there, please remember me that I gave you this advice and give me some commission out of it. But it is very, very hard. I have a feeling it won't happen so easily unless you get very lucky. Crypto booms again and you make a lot of money in that. But again, these are all wishful thinking. So try and balance this. So this is model number one, efforts versus results framework. So balance it out. I have a second framework for you, and I think somebody taught me this. So this is not my framework. I have a feeling that whoever taught me this framework was taught by someone else, and I have a feeling that it comes from a very famous executive coach. I don't know who this is. It could be Stephen Covey, it could be somebody else. Doesn't matter. But I think it is grandma's logic. So I'm going to offer you this simple framework. There are some very simple techniques that I want all of you to just list down all the tasks that you do in a day. So you enter your office, you start emailing, then you start going to meeting, then you go for the coffee, you have breakfast, you talk to your colleagues, then you do other meetings, then you go to the shop floor, do something, then you travel to some customer site. You list down everything, including your driving back to home, what you do at home, exhausted. Let's say you have 100 items that you do in a day. All right. Now comes the next part. Against each item, let's say you have done 100 line items and you make a spreadsheet. Just put the numbers from 1 to 100 and put two more columns. Column one, put something called priority, and the second is urgency. And a high number would be 10, which is highly important, and a high number of urgency would be 10, which is highly urgent. And against every line item, put a number. So let's say coffee. Is it very important? Maybe you can say 3. And is it very urgent? Maybe 1 or 2, depends on what what kind of day it is. But you get the idea where I'm going with this. That list down, and you do it yourself. You don't have to show it to anyone. List down all the things you're doing in a day, put two more columns, and just number the priority and urgency of each of these tasks. And then divide this entire sheet into these four elements. So let me run you through all of this. So this is the, let me put this here. So this is the important part, right? Highly important tasks, not very important tasks. Then highly urgent tasks and not very urgent tasks. So you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of a framework. And if you have 100 things that you're doing in a day, and if they are falling in this category, 3, that you're doing things which are not urgent and not important, I think you should stop doing them. And I can tell you, many of us spend a lot of time in doing things which are not important and not urgent. For example, thinking about the future. It's not important and not urgent. Writing emails which are not important and not urgent. Sitting with people we don't want to spend time with, not important, not urgent. Sitting in meetings which are not important and not urgent. Traveling to customer sites which are not important and not urgent. So drop all of them. So if you look at this, this part is the most unproductive. And many of us spend a big chunk of our day here. If you solve this problem, you'll get a lot of relief in your day-to-day activities. What you should focus on is here. You should be spending a lot of time in doing important and urgent things. This one. We don't. So I hope you push all your list here. And in the best case, you go to this one as well. Number 4. And this is called prioritization. This is one thing you must learn if you're a manager or any human being. In fact, at School of Meaningful Experiences, we spend a lot of time in this. We help our learners look at their competence through priority angles. That, hey, are you spending all your time in important and urgent things or not important and not urgent things? And that should give you a big aha moment. And it's a simple grandma's logic. Do things which are important and urgent, and don't do things which are not important and not urgent. Postpone them, even delegate them, or take them away from your life. And this should give you a priority tool to help you run a better life. So idea number 1, please prioritize and discipline your life. The second thing is, if you have a full plate, don't take any more work. Be assertive. Say no to your clients, say no to your managers, say no to your families. You need to first do what you have signed up for. Many of us don't. We just keep taking more and more and more, and I think that's a bad idea. The third is, please rest a little bit. Every 1 hour, get up, take a break. Every few days, go out somewhere. These are important things. Once a week, you should pamper yourself. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. All of us have our own individual ways of resting, but please rest. Sleep is very important. Rest is very important. Love and self-care is very important. So please do all of that. And the last is, do not push the pedal too much. You'll get burnt out. So work is good, meaningful work is great, but becoming completely consumed by it, becoming almost obsessed by it can be very, very bad. So learn to balance it out. So remember the two frameworks that I gave you. Check your efforts and your results. If there is a mismatch, balance it out and look at the tasks and qualify them into urgent and important. Anything which is not urgent and important, delete it. Anything which is important but not urgent, postpone it. Anything which is urgent, get it done right now. And this is how your day can be much better designed. You can be a lot more disciplined, be a lot more assertive, and hopefully your overwhelming fatigue can be reduced, you will feel a lot more productive, and that ability to work better will happen much faster. Take care of yourself.